what I wanted to talk about is really about mindset. And I know that for some of you that were on our call with Nick last week, he did talk about this a little bit. Nick is our regional vice president. If you don't know who he is, he's new to us, so it's very realistic. You might not realize who he is. And so he talked a little bit about mindset, and I'm going to touch on that. But I want to share a couple different tricks that I use because mindset is a huge barrier in this business. And Pam can give me and you all the word choices in the world that work for her. And if my mind is telling me the people that I'm talking to aren't into it, these word choices are not going to work for me. And so it's really important. It's the number one thing that led to, honestly, my success in this business. If I had to break it down to one thing that made the biggest difference and impact in my business, it is learning mindset and learning to control my mindset, because you can control it, but sometimes it's hard. But I will share. So I'm gonna take you back, and it was I think it was before I was even in Tupperware, and I had met Pam Clift. Okay, and I needed so much positivity in my life at that time, and in walks this woman who's just radiating positivity, joy, and happiness, and everything that we all witness from her week in and week out, right? And I was like, wow, whatever she's got, I need it. Like, I need that fuel in my life. And so over time, we kind of got to know each other. And at one point, I went out to lunch with her and this motivational speaker, right? He was actually kind of, I was the point person. So he was kind of going through me to try and get to Pam Cliff, because he thought maybe she might recommend him to Tupperware. So we sat there at this table for lunch, and he's going on and on and on about how amazing Pam is, and that she's a top 2%er. And there are only a certain amount of people in the world that have the skills that she has and the leadership talent that she has. And that's what makes her a 2%er, right? And me sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh, you are absolutely right. She is amazing, right? So as we were leaving, and I thought nothing of this conversation. And as we were leaving, we were in the parking lot, and she looked at me and she said, you know what, that makes me so mad. And I said, why? I'm like, what he was saying was totally true. You are a 2%er. You're amazing, right? And she's like, no, it really made me mad because you were sitting there the whole time. And the entire time he was telling me how great I was, and you were sitting there. And not once did he address you and tell you how amazing you are, because I believe you to be a 2%er. I'm like, what? Me? You're crazy. Like, and she's like, no, I see that in you, right? The reason why that conversation didn't faze me was because, one, I had zero confidence in myself. I was trying desperately after a failed business and another failed business. And I was on my third failed business, right? And I was failing, and I was trying desperately. So yeah, I had no confidence. I was grasping at straws, trying to build that up. But the second thing is that I had a belief system that only a select few people are successful, and that I was not one of those select few. And I truly believed that to my core. I was just hoping to pay some bills, right? And to help me bridge the gap to whatever my next thing was, whatever the job was, or whatever the thing that was going to come along was. And we all grow up with a set of beliefs, everybody, right? And a lot of the time they're put there by well-meaning adults, right? Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, people that are in your life, teachers, right? That influence us at young ages. And they instill that in our life, and they don't realize quite the impact that their cliche statements can have on a small child, right? And so I want you to tell me some of the beliefs that you had instilled at you at an early age, and I want you to just put them right into the chat, right? And so I know that these are things that you grew up hearing people say that maybe no longer serve you, or maybe sometimes in moments they hold you back. And I'm going to give you an example, right? So here's one: money doesn't grow on trees. Right? I think we've all heard somebody say that to us at some point in our life. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so while you're kind of putting your things in the chat, I want to share another story with you. So when I was younger, and I was like super, I don't know, I was super charged up about getting a pool for our backyard. I don't know if I went to a friend's house and they had a pool or what, but I was like, Dad, our backyard's big enough. We totally get a pool. And he's like, I'm like, when are we going to get a pool? And he looked at me and he goes, yeah, we can get a pool right after we put the helicopter landing pad on the roof. And I'm like, what? And I was like, wait, it took me a minute. I was like, and I said, well, wait, are we getting a helicopter? And he's like, no. And we're not getting a pool either. He's like, are you crazy? Money doesn't grow on trees, you know? And so those type of things, they really stick with us. All right. So let's see here. I'm going to look at these real quick. I got some good ones here. I can see it already. I don't have a money tree out back. Yes. Suck it up, Buttercup. Life isn't fair. Be grateful for what God gave you, right? And that's a double-edged comment there, because not only is it talk about money and things like that, and material items, but it's also telling you that for even asking for something, you're not grateful for what you already have. So that one's a big one there, Jenny. Stay in your lane. Oh my gosh, Darlene, that is so true. Yep, I've definitely heard that one before.
Mhm.
All right, so these are definitely, so what is the common thing that all of these beliefs depict, right? What is it? It is a negative belief system around how far you can go in life, whether it is monetary or whether it is just true success, whatever that looks like to you, being a great mom, spouse, sister, daughter, husband, all of that, but that's what all of those things have in common. And so all these things are the foundation of our belief system. But the good news is we have a choice. We have a choice to continue to believe these things, right? Or we have a choice to flip the script and instill new beliefs into our lives going forward, right? We always have that choice. And so, so when you start uncovering these beliefs, you can start, and I hate this word, but you can start deprogramming sort of those beliefs in your head, right? I was looking for another word because for whatever reason that word just it doesn't work for me. It sounds a little weird to me, but that's kind of what you're trying to do. You're trying to kind of just replace those negative limiting beliefs with positive things that are going to help build you and serve you better, right? And so so you can deprogram your belief system by getting rid of the ones that don't serve you any longer, and possibly make them make ones that you have from your upbringing. I mean, sometimes there are some ones from your upbringing. I'm sure you could think of examples of these too. Ones that do still serve you, ones that do still speak to the person that you strive to be, right? And so you want to keep those and you want to make them stronger. But sometimes these negative ones kind of strangle them out, and you can't remember that you are a child of God, or whatever it is that your family grew up telling you and instilling in you. And you can't see it because you're too busy. It's too much space is being taken up by all those negative beliefs, right? So, so when one of those sayings from your past sneaks up on you, and ask yourself, now that you're kind of aware of these things, ask yourself, is this irrefutably true, right? And the answer is typically no. For those sort of beliefs, the answer is typically no. Is it irrefutably true? I'm not saying is it slightly true, kind of true. Is it true, right? And then, does this belief still serve me? And just realize this belief is, one, it's not true. I see people, yeah, they might not have a money tree, but they have plenty, right? And so does it serve me? No, probably not. It's probably holding you back, because I'm here to tell you, you're allowed to be successful. We are all allowed to be successful. You just have to decide what success looks like to you. No matter where you came from and who you are, you can be successful. And every person deserves to feel safe and taken care of. And every person deserves the best things that life has to offer. And every person deserves a rewarding and fulfilling happy life. Every person. I truly believe that in my core. And so once you uncover some of these beliefs that no longer serve you and stop to think about what you truly want, you can make that into a positive affirmation. And so now hear me out on this one, because when people used to say affirmations, I was like, I'm gonna stop you right there, because those things don't work for me, right? Because I had to get past the whole the yeah right phase of positive affirmations, right? You're like, I'm independently wealthy, and your brain's like, yeah right, Ellen, I've seen your bank account, right? Or you say something about like, I am amazing leader. I'm like, yeah right, you can't even get anybody to join your team. Okay, so you need to reassess, right? And so once you break past that, they make a huge impact in your life, but it's like coming against a brick wall. So it's important to try and get past that. Now, what I recommend is to take that statement and turn it into a question, because something really cool happens when you ask yourself a question. And it's because our beautiful minds, all right, our beautiful minds, doesn't matter your education, doesn't matter anything. It is what our minds are made to do, is to seek answers. And so when you ask yourself a question such as, why is the sky blue, right? Your mind starts going, yeah, why is the sky blue? And you start searching for that answer. Even if you don't know the answer, like, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the atmosphere. Maybe it has something to do with, I don't know, like space. Like, I literally don't know why sky's blue. So I'm literally just coming up with these on the top of my head. And so, because I'm not a science person, I'm not any of those things, and that's okay. All right. And so let's try it. So you say, why am I independently wealthy? And my mind goes to, well, because you were smart with your money, because you paid attention to where your money was going, and you told it where to go, because you started investing, because, and so those are things that my mind is just automatically coming up with. And now, why am I an amazing leader, right? That's the other affirmation I had there. Why am I an amazing leader? Because I'm persistent, because I don't give up, and I don't, if somebody tells me no, that just means who's next, right? Because I just kept after it. And those are things that just kind of popped into my head. Now, put that on repeat in your head, not those other things that don't serve you. Put those messages to yourself on repeat in your head. And something that I did forever until I started to be able to do this on autopilot, at night, I would write them down in a notebook. And some nights it was the same affirmations over and over and over. But me just physically, instead of reading what I wrote down the day before, physically writing it again just really helped solidify it in my brain. Now, you don't have to do it in the evening. Maybe in the morning, you take quiet time and do devotionals or something for the day, and take that quiet time with God, right? And you can take 60 more seconds after that and write some positive affirmations about where you want your life to go. And they can be in that question form, and it'll give you direction for the day. It'll give you a focus for that day. Now, the next part is really, really, really important. All right. So if you were on our call, again, like I mentioned last week with Chris, he talked about a fixed and a growth mindset. And I'm going to give you a very quick overview, but I really encourage you to Google search fixed versus growth mindset. There's a great book. It's by Carol Dweck, right? So if you're a reader, go to the library, order it from Amazon, do whatever you got to do, right? To get the book, or listen to it on Audible if you have something like that, some sort of a program. Sometimes I think the library even has the recorded things that you can borrow as well. So many options, but it's a great book. And so fixed mindset believes you are born with a limited set of skills. And once you exhaust that, there's no place else to go. Right? And so here's a common belief that some people just have a natural talent, right? How many times have we heard people say that? Oh my gosh, they have such a natural talent. They're a natural born leader. They're a natural born salesperson. They're a natural born athlete, right? We hear that over and over again, right? But there's more to the picture, right? There's more to the picture. And let's talk about athletes, because they're just in the mainstream, and it's easy for us to kind of understand, athletes and kind of their mindsets and things like that. Because an example of a professional athlete with a fixed mindset is the guy that we don't remember their name because they only played for a couple seasons and they just kind of fizzled out. Why? Because they had a fixed mindset, and they thought that they had exhausted their natural talent. And when they realized that they actually had to put some effort into it, they're like, no. And they didn't go any further, right? That's a perfect example of somebody with an athlete with a fixed mindset, right? Now, also fixed mindset, they have a tendency to start looking for somebody else to blame, because it can't be their fault because they've got a natural talent. They were born with it, right? So it's got to be somebody else's fault. Now, a growth mindset believes any skill can be learned. any skill, right? And whenever, whatever your circumstances that you were born into, or the gifts that you were born with, it does not decide your fate. And you decide your fate. You are in complete control of these of your day in and day out activities, right? Okay, so again, I'm going to give you a sports example because this is a really good one and it's very easy and you all know who he is, right? So I'm going to talk about Michael Jordan, okay? Because I remember the first time I heard Michael Jordan's story, I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that he was cut from his high school basketball team, right? And so this is the guy who didn't make his high school basketball team in 1978, and then then in 1985 he was the NBA Rookie of the Year. That doesn't happen because of natural gifts. That happens because he refused to give up, right? And he has so many quotes out there and so many wonderful quotes. And one of them, he truly believed, failure makes me work harder, right? And he also believed that the fear of failure is only a distraction from success. And he said, I know fear is an obstacle for some people, but for me, it is an illusion. Wow. I was like, that's a powerful statement. I'm like, I got to be honest. I need to get there because I'm not fully there yet. Fear is not an illusion to me. I do have some real fears that I have to push through that are obstacles for me. But reading that, I was like, oh my gosh, I want that to be me. Maybe that's going to be the new quote that's on my laptop, right? So most people find themselves somewhere in the middle between fixed and growth mindset. And some days they're fixed, some days they're on growth, and sometimes it changes from moment to moment, and that's okay. However, now that you're aware, you can be on the lookout for it. And when you catch yourself saying something or participating in a fixed mindset, even in your own conversation in your head, right? You can now have the choice to make that shift. And I want you to remember the Gatorade commercials that said, just be like Mike, right? It was funny today when I was looking at this quote for Michael Jordan, because I was like, oh, he's got so many quotes. I'm sure I could Google something and find something. And I thought to myself, gosh, wasn't there something that was like being like Mike or something like that? And I Googled it and I was like, oh my gosh, it was a commercial. I had no idea. I couldn't remember, and so, but it's important because the bottom line is some people have advantages over you and you have advantages over some people. I remember thinking that when we were struggling so hard, I remembered thinking to myself, there's got to be somebody out there that's got it worse than me. And that, I was like, so I just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, right? There are a lot of people that are further along than me, but I got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It doesn't matter, and that's the thing. Where you start does not determine your outcome. It's your day in and day out activities that truly determine that outcome. And so with determination and no excuses, you will persevere. Whatever that success looks like to you, maybe it's just more confidence. Maybe it's being able to like speak or train in front of people. And maybe it is a monetary thing. Maybe it is a better, different lifestyle, And so the question is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you really want it? And tonight, when you're settling into bed, I want you to envision your business a year from now. And where you are, what are you doing? Who is on this journey with you? And so that's what I want to challenge you to do this evening. When you're just kind of starting to, after this, maybe you're thinking, your mind's kind of going. I know my mind races after trainings and things like that. And just start to dream and think, but okay, so what if I can control the outcome based on my activities? What am I going to do tomorrow to make a difference and to get me towards whatever this goal is for the year? We heard two of them tonight want to be directors by the end of the year, right? Rochelle and Darlene already self-proclaimed they want to be directors by the end of the year. So what are you going to do tomorrow that's going to take you in that direction? So I hope that helps. Mindset it's an ongoing thing. It's something you have to work on day in and day out. And then when you think you've mastered it, something comes along or you just start looking the other direction. And next thing you know, you're like, oh no, oh gosh, I have these limiting beliefs again. And I gotta work on this again. It's something that you have to kind of keep working day in and day out. I've heard Pam say many times, what is it, Pam? Something, motivation is like a shower. If you don't take it every day, you start to stink, right? Doing work on your mindset's the same thing. Every day, little doses to try and like just keep you moving in the right direction. And we all have the bad days of mindset, right? And that's when we phone a friend, right? That's when we have our support system around us to reach out to. And, some of my phone a friend people are right here on this call, that I called. I'm just like, I'm having a problem. Can you help me? Tell me, I've called Pam several times, like, tell me how great I am because I'm not believing it today. So make sure you have that support system in place.